What if the habits that make you feel unproductive are actually signs of superior intelligence? While society celebrates the loud go-getters and constant achievers, psychology reveals that truly intelligent people operate by a completely different set of rules. Their daily patterns look nothing like what success culture preaches. In fact, most people would mistake these behaviors for laziness or overthinking. Research in cognitive psychology and neuroscience shows that intelligent minds share specific daily habits that separate them from the crowd. These aren't about productivity hacks or morning routines. They're about how the brain processes, questions, and engages with the world. In this video, discover 7 daily behaviors that psychology links directly to higher intelligence. Stay till the end. The last one challenges everything we're taught about success. Intelligent people rarely accept information at face value. Psychology calls this epistemic curiosity, the drive to eliminate knowledge gaps and resolve uncertainty. Their brains are wired to ask why and how do we know before forming conclusions. Research from the University of Toronto shows that people with higher fluid intelligence demonstrate increased skepticism toward unverified claims. This isn't cynicism, it's cognitive rigor. If you find yourself fact-checking headlines, questioning popular opinions, or asking for sources in conversations, your brain is engaging in higher-order critical thinking. Most people consume information passively. Intelligent minds treat knowledge like evidence that needs examination. This daily habit of intellectual skepticism is actually a marker of cognitive sophistication. But questioning isn't where it stops. Here's something that surprises people. Intelligent individuals regularly engage in what looks like doing absolutely nothing. Neuroscience reveals this isn't idleness, it's the brain's default mode network activating. This neural network fires up during rest, enabling abstract thinking, self-reflection, and creative problem-solving. Studies from the University of Southern California found that people who score higher on intelligence tests show increased activity in this network. When intelligent people stare into space or take long walks without music or podcasts, they're giving their minds room to make unexpected connections. The modern obsession with constant stimulation actually inhibits this process. If you crave moments of silence and find your best ideas emerge during downtime, that's your highly active default mode network at work. Psychology confirms what society misunderstands. Mental idleness fuels intellectual productivity. Next, there's something about their conversations. Intelligent people exhibit a fascinating pattern in social settings. They listen far more than they speak. Behavioral psychology research shows this isn't shyness, it's strategic information gathering. Their brains prioritize input over output because learning happens through absorption, not assertion. A study in the Journal of Research in Personality found that individuals with higher crystallized intelligence demonstrate stronger active listening behaviors and ask more follow-up questions. When someone speaks, intelligent minds are processing multiple layers: the content, the subtext, the logical consistency, and the speaker's perspective. They're not waiting for their turn to talk, they're genuinely analyzing. If you often feel like the observer in group conversations and people later tell you, "You really get me," that's cognitive empathy paired with intellectual curiosity. The smartest person in the room is often the quietest. Here's where it gets deeper. Most people crave black and white answers. Intelligent people, they're comfortable in the gray. Psychology identifies this as tolerance for ambiguity, the ability to function effectively with incomplete information. Research from the University of Waterloo demonstrates that people with higher cognitive ability show greater comfort with paradoxes, contradictory evidence, and unsolved problems. Their brains don't rush to premature closure just to relieve psychological tension. This shows up daily. They use phrases like, "it depends," "that's more complex than it seems," or "we don't have enough data." If you resist simplistic explanations and feel frustrated when people force nuanced issues into binary choices, your mind operates at a higher level of cognitive complexity. The need for certainty is actually a cognitive limitation. Intelligence thrives in uncertainty because that's where genuine understanding begins. But here's something even more unexpected. Self-directed speech isn't a quirk, it's a cognitive tool. Psychologists call this private speech, and research shows it's linked to enhanced executive function and problem-solving ability. Studies from Bangor University found that verbalizing thoughts activates multiple brain regions simultaneously, improving focus and task performance. When intelligent people work through problems aloud or narrate their reasoning, they're externalizing their cognitive process to examine it objectively. This habit appears throughout the day, muttering while reading, talking through decisions, or verbally organizing thoughts. If you catch yourself having spoken conversations with yourself and feel slightly embarrassed, know that psychology validates this behavior as cognitively sophisticated. The brain processes auditory information differently than internal thought. Speaking to yourself is actually thinking out loud, and it works. Now for something that might make you uncomfortable. Intelligent people don't rebel for the sake of it, but they consistently question why things are done certain ways. Cognitive psychology research reveals that higher intelligence correlates with increased nonconformity and resistance to arbitrary social conventions. Their brains evaluate rules based on logic and ethics, not tradition or popularity. This manifests daily, in small ways, taking unconventional approaches to problems, refusing small talk that feels meaningless, or politely declining social obligations that serve no purpose. A study in the Journal of Intelligence found that people with higher IQ scores show less concern about fitting in and more concern about intellectual consistency. If you often think, "Why do we do it this way?" and feel alienated by groupthink, that's cognitive independence. Conformity is easy. Critical evaluation of norms requires mental effort and intelligence. Finally, here's the most misunderstood habit. Society treats overthinking like a character flaw. Psychology reveals a different story. Intelligent people engage in what researchers call complex cognition, deep, multi-layered thinking that considers numerous variables simultaneously. A study from King's College London found that people with higher working memory capacity naturally think through more scenarios and potential outcomes. The difference? Their overthinking is structured, not anxiety-driven. They're mentally modeling possibilities, testing hypotheses, and anticipating consequences. This happens daily, analyzing conversations after they end, considering multiple angles before decisions, or thinking about the implications of information long after others have moved on. If your mind refuses to settle quickly and you process experiences on multiple levels, that's not neurosis, that's cognitive depth. The key distinction: intelligent overthinking seeks understanding. Anxious overthinking seeks relief. Know the difference. These daily habits aren't about performance or productivity. They're about how intelligent minds naturally engage with the world. Questioning, reflecting, listening, embracing uncertainty, verbalizing thought, challenging norms, and thinking deeply aren't flaws that need fixing. They're markers of cognitive sophistication. If you recognize yourself in these patterns, understand that what society sometimes labels as odd or inefficient is actually your intelligence at work. These behaviors separate analytical thinkers from passive consumers. If this resonated, subscribe for weekly psychology insights that help you understand the science behind human behavior. Remember, the smartest people don't follow the crowd's definition of smart. They follow their mind's natural rhythms.